I had to do it, you know.
Yeah.
So when you have that many trumpets, can you just not play and they don't know that you're not doing anything?
So I would practice enough so I was in like the middle chair. So like in the concerts and stuff, I'd be in the middle. Or if you were doing
so like you weren't the worst, but you weren't the best.
I wouldn't have been the best, but I could have been better than I was if I put any effort into it.
Yeah,
at all.
I got you. You still bust out the trumpet?
No.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Well, all right. So are we doing, like, I got top 3 resolutions in America.
I did that by percentage. What'd you get?
Yeah, same.
Oh,
Okay. But I thought I'd throw 2 of my own personal. This go pretty fast. We could just run through them individually, I guess. This is going to be different than we've done. So
I know, that's why I'm like, it is a little bit different.
It will be different. And then
okay.
I am going to try to, I do have a clock that we could probably put up and be a little more mindful, but I say here in a minute, like on the 2-minute, we start and we really try to, I don't know, try to be done within the 25-minute range or less.
Yeah.
So,
Can you say anything about the name?
yeah, I might say a little bit. I will probably still record an intro and I might drop something in there about that. So I'm not overly concerned about it. What is this, episode 23, right? I'm thinking about signing up for the AI that Buzzsprout offers, which would do show notes, a blog, would do an intro, like it would do all kinds of stuff for us. I'm going to look at that. We'll see. Anyway, I got the domain fatherhoodcollective.co because it was the best one I could get. Somebody owns
.co?
CO, yeah.
That's why I couldn't find it.
I've also got .net, also bought .org.
.gov?
Not gov. I can't remember. I bought a couple others. I already tied it to our website. I changed almost all name and logos everywhere except the website and YouTube. I think I still need to change one of the logos, but we'll get there. All right. You boys ready?
Sure.
All right. Good to see you, boys.
You too?
Did you guys have a nice Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year?
Did. It still smells Christmassy in this joint.
Yeah, I think my wife lit a Christmas candle before you guys came over. She said the house smelled, and it's probably my dogs. So doing a little traveling for the holidays. They're kind of stinky. So.
Yeah. Are you sure it's a dog's?
No, she was trying to be nice, I think. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you got you got kids.
Yeah, it's fair.
I mean,
it's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fair. Yeah, we can blame the ones that can't talk.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we can do. That's what we can do.
Yeah.
So speaking of New Year, it's resolution time, which I think our very first ever podcast under a different name, which we can get into in a little bit, we talked a little bit about, I think, New Year's resolutions and goals and habits. I don't know if you guys remember, and it was awful audio. So if you guys want to go check that out, we've improved a ton.
Good content, though.
It was good content. I think we
couldn't
released
hear it, but yeah,
couldn't hear it. So it was good for us. But I think it was like in February, so we're hitting it right off the bat this year. So we just wrapped up the new year. We're in 2024, which sounds really odd. Last year was a good year. But yeah, I just thought we'd talk a little bit about New Year resolutions. And with the new year, we're gonna do a little bit different format. We're probably gonna try to drop one of these every week. You're not going to do top 3 every week. We'll do those on occasion, maybe once a month or so. And then today's kind of a pseudo top 3, but we're gonna run through top 3 most used resolutions, which I think is basically we're all probably going to have the same thing. But you want to just go through the top 3 individually? Like you mean to tell you
what I want to do this year?
No. We can throw the personal effects in there. Like I have a couple of goals in mind for this year.
I mean, I went to the doctor today, so I know one of my goals is going to be in a little better shape.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, I think that is number 2.
I did get... No, that's number 3 on my list.
Oh, number 2 on my list is work out more. It says 50% of Americans say they want to work out more.
That's good.
As a New Year's resolution.
I think that's every year.
Yeah.
I mean,
of course it is.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the gyms love New Year's. Like January is like, they're like, dude, we get so many new members. Yeah. And then about 2 weeks later, they just none of them show back up.
They forget about it and they just auto draft for the rest of the year. Yeah, genius.
That's what they get because
they go straight to the bank to cut off the sores.
You gotta, kind of like Disney.
Was it?
Oh, Disney's it's canceled.
Canceled. It's out. Mine
gone.
re-upped in December, and it was not double.
Well, that's what you think.
But it
went up.
It did go up. It did go up.
Mine went down to 0.
Did you you like Seinfeld, right? Didn't they have a gym membership in Seinfeld that they couldn't get rid of? Is that Seinfeld?
Maybe Friends had one that I'm thinking
Friends,
of.
yeah,
Okay,
Friends had that. They couldn't get rid of it.
Yeah,
that's classic little routine. All right, so you got your number 1 in America resolution is?
I had one that said they want to improve their finances.
Yeah, same. It says
because of the Bidenomics.
Do you think Bidenomics?
Yeah.
Do you think? Yeah, I was wondering. Do you think that's an every year thing, or is that this year because of the inflation? Our dollar doesn't go as far. But yeah, the top one that I found was 59% of people say they want to save more money.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's another. I mean, I think that's good, right? Even inflation, whatever. I mean, I think.
Well, it's good.
People are getting more, or they're getting more informative about the lack of retirement that people, that are retiring now have. Like, you hear the statistics where it's like, people in their 60s have like $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 to retire on, and you're like,
sounds
bro,
awesome.
That's
I'm just kidding.
That ain't gonna last, right? That's nowhere close.
Start living hard.
People just, and I think too, a lot of companies, which is awesome, is where they like auto enroll you now into like your 401k, where you are forced to start saving some because they realize that people just don't save. Like, you don't get like, hey, just put it back, and you don't even know it's gone.
No, that's fair.
You don't even miss it if you don't see it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, I think there's a crisis probably brewing in that aspect too, where people just aren't going to have enough money to live, right?
Yeah, I think it's what Lucas is saying. I think it's the times maybe a little more. I don't remember ever seeing that one. I don't remember ever seeing the saving money one as a resolution.
I say that every year though. That's just me.
Well, yeah. Especially like it's almost like the fitness thing coming on the heels of holidays where you blew money and ate awful, and those are the things you want to correct. It's probably fresh in your mind. The number 3 that I had was eat healthier. So that was
I had improved diet at 32%.
Yeah,
on my
47%.
Different scales. But
yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah. No, I find the whole resolution thing funny. We talked about this last year. I mean, those are things that we all probably need to do, right? Those are like those are base minimum. Like, it's like we say, I'm going to read the Bible better this year, or I'm going to read it more. I'm going to do whatever. Those are things that we unfortunately should be doing. So, the resolution thing is good. I think it's like a habit. Like, we need to start forming habits, right? So we talked about that last time. Yep. But I do have 2 goals that I want to try to accomplish this year.
All right, let's go.
You want to hear?
Yeah.
Sure.
Number 1, I want to improve my handwriting.
That's a good one.
My handwriting sucks. And I want to be able to write a handwritten, legible letter to my kids.
Me.
Somebody, Lucas, somebody that gave me a gift. I wanted to write my kids a letter this year, and I realized that I would have to type it. It is my handwriting is
that bad, huh?
I mean, that's better than mine right now.
That's me printing, and it takes too long. I want to
cursive, huh?
Yeah. I want to be an adult.
That's cool.
Yeah, good. Good for you.
I'm gonna work on it, boys. So I found a bunch of different activities. Yeah. Quill.
My handwriting can be terrible too, and I've actually, because I journal. I have the 5-year journal thing. And there's times I'm like, I go back 3 years, and I'm like, can't read it. I can't. I don't know what I'm saying right there. I've actually journaled about that too. Like, I need to improve my handwriting.
That's a good one.
As it's so sloppy, I won't be able to read it. Yeah. But unfortunately, I still haven't improved that well in my handwriting my journal.
I get you some cursive books from school.
Well, yeah. I found there's a lot of activities you can do to improve.
There is.
Also,
cool. We do it at school.
Also, like, the pen makes a difference. Also, like, not going too fast and relaxing. Like, I realize. So I'm gonna do that. Make an effort.
Yeah. Spend money and get a really nice pen. Makes a huge difference.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
Okay. Are you give me a hard time?
Well, I have to sign a lot of paperwork at school.
Okay.
And if I use like a cheap pen, these are kind of cheap.
This is erasable, so it's real.
Pens are. Hey, so we went and got our like will and trust set up, and like the lawyers had like one of those like fancy like
barely pick it up. So nice.
And it was like, holy cow, man, that thing.
You paid for that, though.
Like nice. Yeah, I need to buy some. I was like, I need to buy some of those. Yeah, those little cheap pens you get free.
Yeah.
They're terrible. Like even doing the journaling and stuff like that.
The church pen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the worst.
Yeah. You need like a fine point pen on the end of that thing.
I'm in it. So that's what that's number 1. That's my good. Number 2 goal, which I don't really have anything else, and this is completely off the wall. I want to learn how to tie at least 3 different knots. That's right.
I like it. I
Going
like
on a boat?
Yeah. Sure.
Sailing?
Yeah. There's a lot of knots you tie, really. Not just your shoes. I feel like
I can tie a square knot, which is like super simple, right? And then I can tie my shoes. And I know a guy who gave me a list of knots. So I'm going to go. He's great. Actually, he has the Hard Headed podcast. Check him out. But he gave me a list of knots, and he has like his signature knot that nobody knows how to tie. So he knows it's his gear. I love that idea.
That's cool. Yeah.
His own knot.
I also know a guy that was in the Coast Guard that I would go hunting with him, or I took a trip to Colorado. We went hunting in the mountains, and he strung up his bag in the trees so something couldn't eat it. And the knot looked super complicated, but the next day he just like pulled on the little string and it just fell in his hands. I was very impressed. And of course, I'm wrapping mine around a tree like 15 times. And, I don't know what I'm doing.
Get a brick to set it on there to hold it up.
Yeah.
I'm a terrible knot tire.
Yeah. See,
Like I don't know what a square knot is even. I just know what tying a shoe knot.
it's kind of like that. I can show you. It's super easy, but that's why I was joking about it. It's very easy.
It wouldn't take that long, I don't think, to learn. Right, just a little bit of time.
It's just intentionality, right? Like you got to be
Sit
intentional.
down.
About it. So those are my 2 goals for this year.
I like it.
You can hold me accountable. Throwing it out into the world.
I like it.
It's my 2. All right.
I like it.
You got
I always
anything?
like to learn something
I got
new.
2. Yeah.
That's one of my goals. I don't have what I want to learn something new, but like last year, I like learned how to paint like my daughter's toes and nails and stuff like that. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, sure.
So, she likes it.
You just like the smell of it, don't you?
Oh, sure.
Remover's better. Anyways, my 2 goals. I told you I went to the doctor today, so I gotta lose some lbs. I asked them if the scale was broke. They said no.
You tell them, hey, wait, let me take the stuff out of my
She's
pockets.
like, you always weigh heavier at lunchtime. I'm like, I haven't even ate yet today.
I gotta do
this
that
is
too.
my fasting weight.
Yeah. I'm like, man. Anyways, that's one. And then I don't want to set myself up for failure, so I want to read 2 books of the Bible per month, so 24 throughout the year. Because if I say I'm going to read the whole Bible, I'm not going to. Let's be honest, I'm going to stop.
Yeah, I like it.
No, I like
So
it.
just 2.
It's good.
So that's it.
Are you starting in the beginning?
Probably.
You gonna jump around a little bit?
Yeah, I can jump around if I get bored. Hey, Leviticus, skip you.
Leviticus.
Keep going, move on. So yeah, just 24 books.
Oh, that's good.
Leviticus is where it goes to die. It's so bad.
Yeah, I mean, I always set goals. I saw them goals, right? We talked about that last time. Specific ones. I haven't actually done that yet. But again, like I said, I always want to learn something new. So I may try the knot thing. I may steal one of yours.
Do it.
Let's do it. It's cool. I like that. Yeah, it's fun, right? Something different.
We can tie 2 ends of a rope together and unify our friendship.
Or you just get Velcro.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, you could.
You could.
Yeah.
I feel like I tie a lot of knots though, and I feel like they never stay together because I don't know how to tie a dang knot.
Yeah, we gotta be.
problem.
Let's be real men.
Yeah.
Let's learn how to tie knots.
Yeah.
Good luck. Good luck, boys.
And for sure, this year I do have a goal like Lucas, not necessarily his same one, but to read more. Like a couple of years ago, I got really good at reading. Last year, I don't outside of small group books. I don't think I read a book, and I don't like that necessarily. So I need to be a little more intentional.
What kind of books? Fiction.
All kinds.
All kinds. Yeah, it's good. I like it.
I mean, I've got a pretty good little library stashed away of biblical books, just different other ones, aviation, right, space.
I got a ton of books.
Stuff like that. I got a signed book from Fred Hayes, Apollo 13 astronaut, his book, and I'm like, man, that's awesome. Why don't I read that?
I should read that.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be awesome.
That's a good idea.
That's a good goal.
Reading
for me.
is always. Yeah, that's a good thing for sure. Okay. Well, I mean, that kind of leads us into the conversation that I wanted to talk about. Really, resolutions are us basically admitting that we have a shortcoming, right? So either A, it's something that we believe we should do, like save more money, we should lose some weight, get in shape, eat healthier. We know that we should have been doing those things. So we make a resolution. So we're showing some humility there. And then admitting that I can't tie a knot. I'm not Indiana Jones. I'm not a real man. I need to learn how to be that. Of course, joking. I don't think tying a knot.
And you're already 40. You're not a real man and you're 40.
I know. I'm about 40s and I can't tie knots. What is this? This is a joke. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, which has been on my heart, is just humility and how important of a characteristic that is. I mean, the Bible says so, right? Like humility is probably one of the most important or at least commended characteristics in the Bible, right? You see it so often.
Yep.
Obviously, one of Jesus's major character traits, and so I really want to talk about how do you instill humility into your kids? And that's a tough one, right? Because I don't believe that we're naturally. I think we naturally are born selfish. We know this, right? We're sinners and we're selfish, and people cater to us as we grow up. And there's got to be some effort to teach your kids humility, and I think some of it comes naturally. But going through some teenage years here with my kids, and I know from work experience and being in the world that humility is an extremely important characteristic to be able to learn, to show respect to people, and just to be able to admit mistakes and be comfortable with yourself. If you're not humble, you can't submit to God, and therefore you're going to have a hard time submitting to any authority. And so I just, man, it's been weighing on me a bit. And so I did a little research and found some things that I know that we've tried to do here in my house. And honestly, I think some of it is probably from my experience as a leader in the business world, is that, some of these things are just extremely important. And so we're trying to incorporate some of that in the house. It's some of the things that you guys do already with your kids, I know. But I thought I'd run through that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sound good?
I love it because
I don't have the answers for this. So
we had a humility issue for sure. Christmas morning on our
for sure
for us, and so
was it you?
Yeah, the kid, somebody who looked just like me, but a few years younger than me.
Quite a bit smaller.
Yeah, quite a bit smaller.
Yeah,
it was very frustrating actually.
Yeah, I think too. Like it can be the thing that makes you like. Well, for me at least, I can kind of have a hard stance, especially in the workplace. Like I just have a hard time putting up with it. Mm-hmm. And then with family, oh man, especially if you have family members that are older, like say your age or whatever, and they just lack that humility, man, they are so hard to be around. And so you definitely don't want that for your kids.
No.
Like you do not want that.
Right.
And that's how Christmas morning went.
Sure.
I mean, it was just like a complaint of like I didn't get maybe exactly what I wanted, or I got too many outdoor toys and stuff, and it's too cold and not enough indoor, and this isn't fun, and it's just like, maybe next year you don't even get presents. How about that?
Yeah.
You get to that attitude, and so I love that. I think this is a great topic because it's, it's something we all struggle with, right? All parents, really. Everybody's going to struggle with, and I think it's a good conversation.
Yeah, and I would say that gratitude is one of the things that I would say practice gratitude. It's not my like top one, but I didn't put them like in order necessarily. I did a little research, but also kind of thinking through some of the things that like you want to foster a culture of listening first. So in my home, I need to be an example of this. I'm not always the best at this, but I think of in the workplace, I want to listen first before I react.
Yep.
I want to make sure that I'm not defensive immediately. I want to make sure I'm not jumping to conclusions and think I have the idea in my head already and I'm set. You want to listen first. And so I think people crave to be known. You need to learn and be able to discern what people are going through. Right. Mm-hmm. And in order to do that, you have to listen and you have to be humble. Yep. And so that's something that I want to throw out there is foster a listen first culture in your home and with your kids and honestly everywhere.
That's why God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth.
I mean,
there you go.
And James reiterated, right?
Yeah. I was about to say, and I did not, and this is one of the negative things I did here. I did not tie these to Bible verses, but I know they're there, right?
Yeah.
Like I just know they're there.
And I struggle with that. And I think I'm trying to, and I think I've gotten better where you almost want to, like somebody's talking and you like try to, You try to pre-say what you think they're going to say, and it's and most of the time it's not even right anyways. Yeah. And you're like, man, if I would have just kept my mouth shut a little bit longer, then I wouldn't have had to put my foot in my mouth.
Absolutely. So another thing you want to do is learn to grow, to exercise and grow in empathy, right? And so empathy is a huge deal. And so to genuinely see people through a lens of value is super important. So I have 4 kids, so there's a lot of people in my household. Yep. And it's probably maybe a little easier to do that with a bunch of us to kind of force some of that a bit is to help sisters understand that sisters are valuable, help brothers understand sisters are valuable, all those things, but also just people in the world that they're not just they are actually valuable. They are a creation of God. And so I think showing empathy is extremely important, and just being genuinely relational, like really caring about people, is going to help you do that. Practice gratitude is definitely a massive piece of humility. So just being thankful, understanding, like you kind of talked about Christmas morning, and we just went through the holidays, understanding that, you're not always going to get exactly what you want. I mean, it's tough as a kid.
It's tough as an adult.
It's a tough
not
as
with
an
Christmas
adult.
presents.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you see other people getting things that you feel like you deserve, and I mean that's hard.
Absolutely. And so being a practice gratitude, I would throw that up there, maybe at the top. Just being thankful for what God has blessed you with, right? And even in the hard times. And here I am having a hard time reading my handwriting, but
good luck.
Yeah. So this one is something I was kind of thinking about, but a mindset that sees invitations, not inconveniences. So what I was thinking there is opportunity, not obstacle. So this is something we definitely talk about at work. Is you want to be see the opportunity to engage and serve others is not a inconvenience on your life, right? It is an invitation to care and show love, right? And so to get your kids to think through that's tough, especially as they're growing up. But I think it's important. So having them do things at the house for their mom, have them do things for each other, and when they do show that inconvenience attitude, like call them on it. Like don't be afraid to say, hey, I get it, but this is why we do these things, right? And so I think those are important. Yeah. Model and encourage a culture of respect, and I think that's like an obvious thing. It goes with the gratitude, goes with everything else. Each person has their own unique ideas, emotions, and interests, and we have to respect that, right? We need to understand that we're all different, but we need to respect each other. And then you can do like a massive amount of good through encouragement. I think that's another thing, and just make sure you're encouraging. And I'm not the best at this. Right? Encourage, and you don't. I think this is something you see in adults a lot. I think they feel sometimes like to point out that somebody is good at something and encourage them to do it devalues themselves, and that's the tricky part. That's the line you have to walk, is where you have to say, like, I'm going to encourage you to do this, and you may be better at it than me, and without devaluing my place in this world, basically. And I think you got to be real comfortable with yourself to do that. And I think I joke about totally being like, I'm totally fine being the dumbest person in the room. It doesn't bother me. Like, I'm comfortable with my gifts. I'm comfortable with who I am. And I think that it's important, but not everything's a competition. So encourage people to do things. Don't don't not encourage because you don't want to see people succeed, right? And so that's tough for kids, man.
Oh, yeah.
You talk about like kids playing sports and all this stuff. That's the place for competition, but not when you have gifts and you're working through things.
Well, you're talking about adults, right? Look at the workplace, right? I mean, it's like leadership training right there, where they tell you, right?
Oh no, I mean,
for sure.
I mean, humility is probably the biggest piece of leadership that I would say. And then the last thing I had here was just celebrate the opportunities to serve. So when you have an opportunity, like we go mission trips, or we have the ability to do things at church, or even to help people that maybe are outside of our normal circle or inside our circle, like really celebrate that. That is, and push your kids into it, right? Like, no, you're going to go mow this person's lawn, or no, you're going to go pick up the trash in that person's yard, or you're going to go rake leaves for this lady, or we're going to go on this mission trip and we're going to serve people. And love people. And so I think that was it, man. I think as I've, like, it's obvious that is like one of the most important characteristics in every space that I'm in, and I really, really, really want to try to instill that in my kids somehow, some way.
I think the easiest way to do that is if your kids see you doing all those things.
100%.
Right? Yep. Treat their mom that way. Treat everyone that way. Yep. That's the easiest way to for them to do it. So.
Yeah, and I fall short all the time, and so I think at one of our next few episodes we're going to talk a little bit about something else that kind of ties into this. But I think being dependent on God in all of this is super important, and humbling yourself in front of Him, right? Like that's very important. And then this kind of starts to become a little bit easier. But that's another piece with kids that they have not probably gotten to that point as they're building that relationship with God. And so I think it's all interesting, but I do know that, man, I want to send my kids out in the world with humility. If I could pick one thing, I mean, that would be it, man. I think there's a lot that can be accomplished with humility. So
yeah, no, I think it's great. I think the hard part is right, because these things require intentionality on your part as a parent, and they're tough, right? Yep. And you fail at them, and that's the hard part about all this, and to really instill this on your kids is because it is tough, and there's times you don't want to do it, right? It's easier just to not say anything, or go sit back on the couch or whatever, when it's like, man, I gotta get up, I gotta do this.
Well, I made a note over here that said admit mistakes. And I think it's one thing as a parent that you can do to kind of show humility, that I don't know if it's something that we all think of immediately. We don't like to do that in general. But with our kids, I think sometimes we probably try to take a line that says, I can't say that I was wrong, right?
Yep.
But I definitely try to make sure I do that a lot. Now, I'm probably real bad with my wife. I need to be better there. But I really do try with my kids to say, hey, you know what? I was wrong. Yep. I made a mistake. Forgive me there. Let's move forward, right? Yep. And so I think that helps. But that's it. That's what I got, man. That's my new year. That's what's on my mind. That's on my heart. It's something I wanna try to push a little bit more intentionally, like you said, Anthony.
Yep. No, it's perfect. Loved it.
Well,
it's good.
New format. We're gonna try to knock these out a little quicker. And we're going to try to knock one a week out. So we're going to start releasing these every week. So we hope you guys enjoy. We switched our name a bit. So we're going to be the Fatherhood Collective. So I think the theme will come through a little bit, that we're focused on raising kids. And also we hope it doesn't cause any confusion that we're tied in with any weird cults. So
to be determined.
Yeah, to be determined. But we're trying to clean that up a bit. But yeah, we're changing the name up a bit. But yeah. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. We'll talk to you later.